Mr. Speaker, thanks for joining the show. Just to jump right in, let's assume for a second that the Dems finally see the sense of getting the government back open and open it. The big pending question then for a lot of Americans is healthcare. What is the Republican plan to address this? Do you want to scrap the subsidies, keep the subsidies, revise the subsidies? What do we do once we open the government back up?
It's a great question, an important one, and there's a lot of work and discussion that's been going on about that. I'm not going to project what I think the final outcome is because my job is to build consensus in a majority that has the smallest margin in U.S. history. I'll be back down to 1 or 2 votes again. And so my job is to take all the various opinions on the subject, bring them together, and try to reach a final conclusion. I will tell you there's a lot of concern among people who are really paying attention, and certainly among conservatives, that the subsidy is an effort to prop up a broken healthcare system. Obamacare is not working well, right? And anytime something doesn't work well, the government has to prop it up with subsidies, and that's literally what you have here. You're subsidizing insurance companies, and it needs a lot of reform. There's a lot of concerns about it from various angles that it is not working well, and it's wasteful and abusive in terms of taxpayer funds. So that being said, that's sort of the groundwork. At the same time, we certainly want to avoid premiums going up any higher for the American people. I have hastened to point out in all the press conferences here, the Republican Party is the group, the responsible lawmakers who are going to fix healthcare. We have tons of ideas on how to do that. And we've got to build a consensus to get it done. We started already. This is not a talking point. We've demonstrated that, John, because we put it in the One Big Beautiful Bill, the Working Families Tax Cut. The reforms we put in Medicaid have already been verified to have achieved their desired objective. The Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, is the one that came out and said, yes, it's working. They kicked off 2.3 million ineligible recipients of Medicaid, and it's going to save $185 billion just to start. So there's much more that needs to be done. We have lots of ideas to do it, but we got to build the consensus so we have the votes to deliver it.
Okay. Just real quick, Ken, because I want to make sure I'm hearing what you're saying, which is, hey, we'll have the conversation on healthcare, but we're not committed to just kicking the can down the road on the existing subsidies that are full of waste, that are inefficient, that are not effective in delivering the best quality care. Is that a fair summation?
That's a great summary of it. And just to put a fine point on it, none of that can happen. None of those substantive discussions can be finished until we get the government open again, which is the issue of the day.
And the funny part is, I know you're out there. There's a great Axios chart. You've literally done like more appearances explaining the problem than anybody else. But the Democrats are trying to make this case that it's all about healthcare. Why not just say, hey, here's the deal. Instead of 7 weeks, 4 weeks, we'll give you 2 weeks. But basically tether the discussion saying, give us 2 weeks to open the government, to get people paid again, to get the operations, and then we'll have that discussion. Because the more I think we limit the duration, I think we can at least expose them more.
Well, I did a bunch of interviews. I think I'm, a couple dozen now, but I finally got to the Sean Spicer show, and I should have started here first. Okay,
shut up. Thank you.
It's a great point. It's a great point. But here's the thing. The date of November 21, the reason it went 7 weeks on the CR is because that was a negotiated consensus among Republicans and Democrat appropriators. We sort of yielded to them on that and how much time they would need to finish the process. It's a very important point. We have been trying to rebuild the muscle memory to make Congress work again, brother. You and I have lamented before that Congress is broken and the appropriations process doesn't work the way it's supposed to under the law. And so every year we wind up getting jammed with an omnibus spending package at the end of the year. We've all seen the movie. Everybody votes on it. It's 2,000 pages long, and most people haven't read or understood it because they weren't involved in the negotiation of it. So I've been working really hard since I became Speaker 2 years ago to build back the process. And we did it. This year, we got 12 separate appropriations bills through the House Appropriations Committee. R's and D's working on it together. We got 3 of them passed off the House floor already. 3 were passed off the Senate floor, and that hasn't happened over there in a decade or something. And those bills don't match up exactly. So now they're in a conference committee working it out. That is small d democracy. That's the way Congress is supposed to work. The problem is they ran out of time because the end of the fiscal year is September 30th, not December 31. So the appropriators, the ones who were leading and doing this good work, said the R's and D's together said we need a clean instrument to keep the government open for 7 more weeks, because that's about how much time we think it would take us to finish up this process and get all the bills done. So we yielded to them, and it was their expertise and their thought that delivered that. And now the Democrats are trying to pretend like they had no say in it at all, and it's just not true.
All right, I hate to interrupt this conversation, but tonight, if you are looking for a great night's sleep, I'm going to help you big time. I switched over to Boll & Branch sheets, and my goodness, they have made a huge difference. They are so comfortable to get into every night. I love them so much. I literally ordered a second pair the other night and paid for them myself. That's how great these things are. And you can join me as well. The thread count, the quality is unbelievable. There's a 30-day guarantee, so you literally have nothing to lose. If you want a better night's sleep, it starts with your bedding. Go to bowlandbranch.com/Spicer to save 15%. That's BOLLAND branch.com/Spicer for 15% off and free shipping. bowlandbranch.com/Spicer for a great night's sleep. All right, back to the conversation. It's not time to go to sleep just yet. That's a great point. The Democrats are trying to talk now about getting the military paid, right? So you've got active duty military going without paycheck, but more importantly, just to make it personal, reservists cannot actually drill because we cannot get authorization to get out there and drill. So you're taking a ton of folks that can't be trained, they can't go on exercises, they can't support their active duty counterparts. Is one of the three bills that you mentioned military pay?
Well, yes, but this is a very important point here. We already voted to pay the military. It was the CR vote 3 weeks ago. And every Democrat in the House except one decided that they did not want military to be paid. They voted to shut the government down. It's not just the military, it's Border Patrol agents, TSA, you got air traffic controllers, all these people who are essential to our safety as a nation, to the essential services that the government provides. And they made a conscious choice for political reasons to vote against that. So now some of those Democrats have buyer's remorse. They're like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done that. Please bring us back into session and let me do a show vote to pretend as though I'm for this. It's too late. That job was already done in the House. We sent the product to the Senate. It is now sitting on the desk of 44 Senate Democrats who have got to come to their senses and do the right thing. Stop playing politics with this. They have Trump derangement syndrome. It drives every decision they make. But this one's very painful for real people. And I don't think we can endure it much longer.
So what is the strategy then? Just to keep sweating them out to make sure that we get 5 more Democratic senators on board? Or is it, I mean, again, they seem to be drawn into their corner. We're not going to talk until there's a commitment on health care. Republicans, I think rightly so, are saying we already voted on this. The government can be open in one lickety split. Yeah. What do we do, though? Because right now you've got a lot of federal employees that don't know whether they should show up. We got more air traffic controllers not showing up. The president saying some people might not get paid. Is there a commitment that you and Senator Thune are making that all people will be paid? People who actually show up at work will be paid? Like what should a federal worker today who's being forced to go into work know?
Look, two important questions you just asked there. The first is, what could we do to move this forward? Sean, I literally don't have anything to offer them. I did not put one single conservative Republican priority on the CR. It is truly, literally clean. It's only 24 pages long. It's the bare minimum to keep the doors open. And it by the way, it continues Biden-era spending and policies. We hate that fact, but we haven't had the ability yet to change it. That's what the appropriations process is for, to change all that. But right now, it's everything that Chuck Schumer and the Democrats have voted for before. So I can't go to them in a negotiation and say, gosh, guys, okay, let's release the pressure valves. Let me take off these 2 Republican priorities in the CR and maybe you can vote for it then. I don't have any to take. I have nothing to take off the table. It's exactly what they voted for in March. So that's the answer to that one. Number 2, will federal employees be paid? I sure hope so. I mean, they shouldn't be harmed because Democrats are playing politics on Capitol Hill, and it has been the tradition, and I think it is the current law that the furloughed employees do get their back pay. There is some legal analysis that apparently is circulating right now that questions that, and I don't yet know how the White House is going to discern all that, but I mean, there's a lot of talk about it. We are for the federal workers who do a great job. They have so many of these people are essential to the operation of the government, to the supplying of services to the American people, and we want to protect those who work so hard. Is there waste and fraud in government? Yes. We're trying to root it out piece by piece, and we've had a great run at that. But I'd rather do that in the regular process than in this kind of triage scenario. And I think I know the president shares that view because I was in the Oval Office with him, Chuck Schumer, and Hakeem Jeffries, and Leader Thune just 10 days ago or so, where he pleaded with them, guys, don't do this. Keep the government open. That's where we are.
One last quick question on a personal level. Caroline Leavitt in the White House has really opened up the White House briefing room, the White House accessibility to media. The Congress and the Capitol is still controlled by a group of journalists to decide who gets to cover people like you up close and personal. Now, I know you have a personal commitment to going out there and talking to a lot of people as you're doing today. Is there a commitment that you will make to help open up the House of Representatives to independent journalists?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, in fact, we've had a lot of like the social media influencers and kind of the online alternative media folks coming in on a regular basis for briefings.
Yeah, but sir, that's because your commitment, right? You have done a good job of that. Mike Johnson's done a good job. But right now, if I want to come and cover some other member of Congress, they will not give me a press pass, right? Mm-hmm. So you, Mike Johnson, I can come do. You have been good, but the Congress report, up to those standing committees of press, the periodical gather, whatever, that's overall. So if we lose Mike Johnson or other members don't have the commitment that Mike Johnson has, we can't come cover it. So, but I think there could be an opening of a new class of independent journalists that can come up and get credentialed.
I love that idea. I mean, I'm all for transparency, and I think the free press is essential to the operation of a constitutional republic. That's why it's listed in the First Amendment, and we have to vigorously guard that. So, look, I'll take a look at that, Sean. Let's break down the barriers if we can. I want more transparency because that serves the American people.
Deal. We'll follow up. Mr. Speaker, good luck today. Thank you for everything you're doing to fight on principle for this, because I don't think taxpayers fully appreciate what this means in the long run. So thank you and the Republican Conference for all you're doing.
Thank you, brother. Good talk with you. Thanks so much.
Take care, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.